Hey team, welcome to another Bullpen Bulletin with Coach Hart and Building Better Baseball. We are in part 4 of the Flow of a Season coaching workshop. Part 4, we're talking about late season or the end of the season coaching, what you should be doing, teaching, coaching, and everything like that. If you've missed the first 3 parts of this series, the preseason, the early season, and the midseason, make sure you go back and watch those videos first in order because this video builds off of all of those that we've already talked about. But without further ado, we're going to get into the Flow of the Season Coaching Workshop, Part 4, Late Season. All right, so the first one is, this is a sprint to the finish, So this is the last month of the season, the last 4 weeks of the season. And it's really easy to get complacent with your season. And what I mean by this is it's really easy, like if you're winning, you can kind of coast and kind of lose focus a little bit. Or if you're not having a successful season, it's really easy to just like give up, right? If you're not winning. So this is the time of the season where you've already been through like 2/3 of the season and you get kind of comfortable at where you're at. Whether if you're losing, you continue losing or you get comfortable, or if you're winning, you kind of get comfortable and you kind of lose focus, right? You want to keep the foot on the gas, all right? It's a sprint to the finish. This is where we want to rev up the focus. This is where we want to rev everything up in this last part of the season. So don't let your team get complacent about where they are, get comfortable where they are. Make sure you keep that foot on the gas. And for your goals, you want to refine your goals. So we set our goals in the preseason and the early season. We want to make sure that we refine them to make sure that they still fit at where we are in the season. So make sure you go back and check your goals, make sure you're still on track. And if you're not really accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish, maybe you could refine them to make some sort of new goals for this last month of the season. So make sure you revisit your goals. The next one is revisit the basics. All right, late in the season, it's really important to revisit the foundational skill work. So in the early season, we worked on our foundation and we built the foundation. In the midseason, we kind of built on that foundation. And in this part of the season, it's really, like I said, easy to kind of lose focus on the basic mechanics and the basic foundational skills of baseball. So at least for the first few practices of this late season, make sure you revisit the basics. Go back to the basics to make sure your team is still on track. And this is what the big leaguers do every single day. They get on the tee and they do little swings off of the tee. They take little ground balls to work on their hands. They work on the basics every single day because they know that that is their foundation, and everything that happens after that is they need a strong foundation to do everything after that, right? So if the big leaguers can do it every single day, we as a youth baseball team can at least revisit them late in the season to make sure that we're still on track and we're still improving. And you can spice it up with new drills that you haven't done. So you don't have to go back and do the exact same stuff that you did before. You can spice it up with new drills, but practicing the fundamental skills will refocus your players and get them back on track if they've lost focus. So as we said in the first slide, it's easy to lose focus and get comfortable. If that has happened, go back and revisit the basics to kind of, get your team in check and just kind of get them back on track, right? You can use new drills, but make sure you go back and revisit the basics in this late season, all right? Now, elevate your practices. This is the time to really take your practice plans to the next level, all right? Time to add in some new stuff that you haven't done all season. You want to keep it fresh and new for your players, and if you've been doing the same stuff for the first 2/3 of the season, this is the time to really elevate and add in some new stuff for your practice plans. You want to add in new drills. So look on YouTube, look online, look on blogs, look on other coaches, ask around, right? Look for new drills from anywhere you can find to try and, spice it up for your team a little bit. You want to look at new ways to teach. So if something hasn't been working for the first 2 months of the season, try something new. Try to find a new way to reach your players because obviously the strategy that you've been using hasn't really been working. So this is the time where you can really just kind of find new ways to teach your players. Teamwork activities. So if you haven't done any really team building activities, this is the perfect time late in the season when they're getting comfortable to add in these teamwork activities, add some team building stuff. They don't have to be in your practices specifically. They can be out at like a team building facility or whatever, but make sure you add in some team building stuff. Some plays. If you want to add in new plays, new bunt plays, new first and third plays, new everything, right? Spice it up, new signs. And that's what I say here is new signs. If your signs are getting kind of stale, add in some new signs, do something different, right? Equipment to practice certain skills. So I know that one popular thing is called like a camwood bat. If you don't have that, maybe you should try investing in it. I had something called a bat rack, and it was basically like a bat with a little hole in it where you practice bunting, and you take tennis balls or wiffle balls and you throw it and you try to get it through the hole, right? So different things like that. If you see something that looks cool and kind of really works on new skills, then you can do that, right? Look for new equipment to practice your skills. Conditioning. Find new ways to condition your players. New running, right? Don't just do poles all the time or do calisthenics. Find new, different ways to do conditioning for your team. And fun games. If you don't have any fun games, then I have a whole playlist of 30 games in 30 days that I did. You can go to that playlist on my channel and look at all those different sort of fun games. But if you haven't been doing a lot of fun games, you can do new fun games for your players to really freshen up the season in this last month of the season. And you want to plan for the off season. So if you're conducting tryouts for the next season, this is the time to at least start thinking about your tryouts, right? Where are they going to be? What days are they going to be? How are you going to orchestrate them? Is your team right now, are they required to come? All of these different things with tryouts for the next season, this is the time to start thinking about that. And for the off season for your players, you want to create a short list of about 1 to 3 skills for each player to practice in the off season. And these should be specific to each player. So if you know a player needs to work on pitching, you should verbalize to them, hey, work on pitching this offseason. Here are some drills for you to work on. All right. If someone needs to work on dropping their hands or doing anything in their hitting stance, you can say that to them, right? Let them know what they need to work on so they can have a focus for the offseason so they can improve and get better for next season. All right. You can verbalize them, just really simply verbalize them. Hey, you need to work on this for the offseason. Or if you want to take it a step further, you can write it down so they're aware of what they should work on and what they should improve on. And evaluations. Last one, evaluations. So the last thing you to consider is conducting your end of season evaluations. All right. I usually have them printed out and they consist of a few questions about the season. It's not long. It's maybe 2 or 3 questions about the season. And you should have evaluations for coaches to coaches. So you all evaluate each other. All right. Coaches to players. And you can give these to the players and it can be a really positive thing of kind of like I said before of what they should work on and what they did well and what they didn't do well. Players to coaches. So you give an evaluation to your players and they fill it out based on, and they're evaluating you as you're coaching for performance. And that's great feedback for you. So you know what to improve on and what you did well and what you didn't do well. And coaches and players to the team. So the coaches and players evaluate the team itself and how they can improve, what they did well, what they didn't do well. And an optional one is parents to coaches. So I know that this might not look appealing to some coaches because some parents might have kind of like an exaggerated view of something that happened or the season itself. But if you would like, this is optional where you could give an evaluation to the parents and have them fill it out. And it's basically they're evaluating you and they're giving you feedback on your performance and what you could improve on. If you have a really good group of parents, this would be really, really helpful. And it would make them feel involved, right? It would make them not feel like so far out there, not part of the team. You are including them in their opinions and you're telling them that you care about their opinions, right? But like I said, this is optional. I know that some parents and coaches and youth baseball and everything like that, right? I get it. I get it. So this is optional. And I just want to point out this little picture here. So this is exactly how the season kind of flows for every youth baseball team, right? You want to plan, right? So this is kind of the beginning of the season. You plan, you do your practice plans, you plan for the season, right? You implement, right? So you implement everything that you planned and you see how it works, right? You evaluate, right? This is what we're talking about here. You evaluate everything and then you improve. You use those evaluations to improve your team. And then it kind of circles back for the next season where you start planning based on your improvements. And that is the upward spiral that improves your team and helps you get better every single season. Okay. Now, before we end this workshop, I really just hope that you take all 4 of these videos, all 4 of these parts, and kind of put it together as a full flow of the season. This is exactly everything that you need to be working on to make your season as successful as you want. All right? Take what you'd like, take what applies to you, and just leave what doesn't apply to you. I really hope you found this valuable, and I really hope you take this to the field and take this to your practice plans. And I really, really hope that this improves your team and helps you be a better coach for your players. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you grab your free guide linked below. I have a whole bunch of them down there. I have a practice plan, batting practice guide, everything. Take what you like, whatever you think will be helpful. So remember, I'm Coach Hart. This is Building Better Baseball. This is the best place for baseball education. And I will see you in another video real soon. Take care.